Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel here again for an episode talking Inter news and of course transfer window related news. But you know what? The transfer window, guess when it actually officially opens? Have a quick guess. It's actually almost in a month. 1st of July is actually when it officially opens in Italy and in Germany. So it's funny that the transfer window, as they say, never sleeps, but we're still actually so far away from actually officially opening. But there's so much already obviously kicking off, and we'll get into that now. First thing actually I want to talk about today is away from the transfer news. It's actually about our ownership. Suning, 6th birthday at Inter. They have completed 6 years at Inter. It's gone quickly. But how do you guys rate Suning's time at Inter? So one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys today. They've had definitely a very up and down time at Inter. Shaky beginning for sure. They came in with very big, statements, very big, projects and ideas, which at the beginning obviously we struggled with the Gabigol and the Jean Mario fiasco at the beginning, but then slowly they started to get the foothold. It was the first ever foray into European football, so I was expecting some mistakes. Then hiring Spalletti, getting Champions League back, and then hiring Pepe Marotta, getting Antonio Conte, getting top class staff with Antonio Conte, like Oriali and the backroom stuff, Pintus, all these people, they came because of Suning, because of Steven Zhang, who became our president. And, obviously winning a Scudetto after 11 years. And then, last season, Coppa Italia Super Cup. But of course, in between, after the pandemic, whatever happened in terms of the record losses that we recorded last season in the financial year, and all these sales they're now having to make. So they started off kind of shaky, then definitely improvement and a peak in the Antonio Conte year, of course, and then probably slight dip last season, and now let's see where things are. But the other day on social media, on Twitter especially, #SuningOut was trending all over Twitter, especially primarily on Italian Twitter, but I saw a lot of my fellow international Inter friends partaking in that, and even I have to say I also tweeted #SuningOut. It just feels like the end of their adventure in European football. Everything just kind of suggests from China themselves not being focused on football anymore either. Their situation themselves, they're not injecting any capital in Inter anymore. And once again, we'll get into it, with the Bastoni news. Looks like once again I'm going to have to make a big sale to kind of actually be able to do anything in this summer window. So a lot of things that are pointing towards the end of the time of Suning at Inter. At the same time, though, people seem to be either all in or all out. But at the same time, I am grateful that they bought us from Eric to here at one point. They improved our revenues. They invested a lot of money, guys. Suning have invested close to €1 billion into Inter. And that's why they want €1 billion at least as a selling price for Inter. And they just saw, people want Steven Zhang to sell. I want Steven Zhang to sell, but you call Steven Zhang and tell him sell Inter for less than $1 billion. The offers that were rumored from BC Partners last year, 750 million. He just saw the cousins over the other side sold for 1.3 billion euros without a stadium. So convince Steven Zhang to sell for less money than that. Of course, the reason why no one wants to bid that much for Inter is because of all the debts that we have, which is Suning's fault. We have the 280 something million loan from Oak Tree, the 3-year loan that is the real issue at the moment. And then we have also another 300 million plus bond that we recently renewed. So you're taking on a big debt commitment if you're buying Inter, which is what I think now is happening. They're trying to reduce the losses, reduce the debt, and trying to kind of clean up the accounts. I think everything is pointing towards Suning selling Inter at some point soon. We'll see what happens. But the reason why we saw Lukaku, Barella, Hakimi, all these top ballers at Inter was also because of them. But at the same time, What can you do for me right now is the question that us Inter fans are saying. Yes, you did this for us in the past 6 years, but what can you do for us now? Let's see what happens. But you guys let me know, what do you think of Suning's 6-year tenure at Inter until now? Let me know in the comments down below. As I said, speaking of Suning, selling, all that kind of stuff, the main news that's been in the mainstay of Interistas' minds recently has been Bastoni, who is heavily linked with Spurs. Lots of confirmed reports in England and in Italy, both pointing towards Spurs already having made an offer. Antonio Conte, according to some reports, is calling Bastoni every day. Man, that wig man better cut his phone off, man. You know, shouldn't be allowed to be calling out players. In my last news video, if you guys remember, you know, Marotta talked about Zoccolo Duro, so the core, he talked about this core of the team remaining this summer. But to me, Bastoni is definitely part of this core, this key core, or hard core, as the Italian translation would say. But if they sell him, that means that once again he was BSing, he was telling lies, he was chatting patty. And the thing with Bastoni, once again, is the same as, you know, when we talked about Lukaku, Hakimi last year. It's not about replacing them, because, you know, in football you'll be able to replace them in a different way. With Bastoni, it's very difficult because it's such a unique profile, as I keep saying. But it's not just about that. Like, okay, you can do that, but to me, you know, selling Bastoni, the 22, 23-year-old future of Italy, young centre-back who's already, you know, top-class centre-back. He's, you know, he's got San Siro tattooed on his calf. This guy has grown up being an Inter fan. He knows the songs that, you know, Inter fans, the Curva sings. He wants to remain. The reports even out of England are coming out that, you know, Conte's trying to convince him, you know, Spurs are putting an offer, but he doesn't want to leave. Bastoni doesn't want to go to Spurs. He doesn't feel like he's ready for a Premier League experience yet, which I think is smart. I don't think Premier League is the right league for him in general anyway. And then his agent, Tullio Tinti, comes out the other day speaking. He was asked about this, and you know, he kind of almost hinted that he might be even pushed out of Inter. Like, if you read between the lines, he says Bastoni is a huge fan of the team he plays for, as an Inter. He likes being at Inter, but he's also a professional. That is how football is, and we must adapt. He's very happy at Inter and has the shirt on his skin. So, you know, this guy Tinti already made some edgy statements even when Bastoni was renewing the previous year. So yeah, he's a bit of a feisty character. But if you read between the lines there, is he saying that, you know, Bastoni wants to leave, but these guys at Inter are saying that, you know, this offer is kind of too good to turn down and we might push him out. So this is where the hashtag, you know, Suning out train really began once again. Is like Inter seeing this, you know, future bandiera, as they call him in Italy, you know, future legend of the team, as a lot of Inter fans see him being pushed out of the club. Because that's if you guys watched my video the other day where we got together, had the Excel sheet, tried to calculate how can we avoid selling Bastoni, Lautaro, Skriniar, like, you know, the main boys of the team. And by the end of it, you guys saw my video 1 hour long, and by the end of it, we saw it's going to be very difficult to make that plus 60 million plus net in the transfer window, plus reducing salaries, and plus being able to bring players in as well. It's going to be very, very difficult. Of course, my hope is that Bastoni is not sold. I hope Marotta, Ausilio need to earn their money by selling every single other player out there possible, rather than this core of you know, key players that we have. We got to maintain a core. We can't be selling off players every single season, and just try to, you know, do the best that we can and try to make miracles every season, because that's not how a team improves. We're just gonna it's gonna stagnate or get worse. That's the only possible outcome of this. There's no way of improving the team like this, because even if they sell Bastoni for what's reported, at least they want 60-70 million euros. They're not going to reinvest 60-70 million euros. We know that. We saw that with Lukaku. They invested not even half of that. With Bastoni, will they even reinvest 30? Probably not. They're probably looking at, you know, the reports are saying that the low-cost alternatives, which is even more infuriating, talking about Acerbi or Romagnoli, you know, Lazio and the Milan captain, or was Milan captain. So that's a nightmare alternative. And they're talking about another low-cost-ish alternative, Marco Senesi, Argentinian defender from Feyenoord. Guardiola also linked, but he's probably out of our reach because he's 30 million plus. So you see, you can't even reinvest half of that money. One name I haven't seen mentioned, which I would like to see mentioned as a potential replacement, is Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, but I'm not sure what his cost-wise what it would be if it's similar to Guardiola. So the names are out there, but again, you probably can replace Bastoni, but what's the point of doing it every season? This is, these are the players that we want to stay, we want to see at Inter in our shirt for as long as possible. So please, Suning, try to find another way. Or Conte, please just look somewhere else. Like Guardiola, Conte himself is interested in him. They're talking about Longley from Barcelona being pushed to Spurs because Barcelona need to make some sales. So that's one way we can avoid the Bastoni sale. But then if it's not Bastoni, then they might move on to Lautaro, then they might move on to Barella or Skriniar. So that's the reality at the moment of Inter fans under Suning. But as for now, Spurs haven't made the right offer to Inter for Bastoni, and Bastoni doesn't want to leave, so fingers crossed that's how it remains. Next news to quickly touch upon is the two Chileans. We know that Vidal and Alexis Sanchez are both on their way out of Inter, but it's not been official yet. It's not been actually concluded. We're all like putting that in our calculation already, but it's not easy because Vidal has a clause in his contract for 4 million euros. Inter can pay him off and finish his contract, but they want to try to negotiate that fee down. Obviously Inter would rather not pay 4 million for that, so hopefully Arturo Vidal plays ball and reduces that fee down. Apparently Flamengo have pretty much agreed a deal with him, so he's probably going to go off to Brazil. Alexis is a difficult one. He's rejecting a lot of offers, according to reports. Some offers from Spain, some offers from like Saudi Arabia, things like that. He doesn't have a clause in his contract, so Inter need to sit down at the table with his agent and stuff and actually agree on what a payoff would be, and it probably could be expensive because if there's nothing written there, again, we just need to hope that Alexis just kind of understands our financial situation and doesn't ask for the moon for us to cancel his contract. Coming in rumors now. Let's move on to coming in rumors. Today, a new rumor came in about Loftus-Cheek, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, or one of the best slander names I've ever seen on Twitter. Lube them softest cheeks. Oh, sorry guys, I had to just throw that in there. But a player I very much like, 26-year-old English midfielder, very adaptable, ball carrying midfielder. Definitely the type of profile we need, physical, athletic. However, he is a bit of an English saintcy in terms of injury history. Has hampered his career development until now. But there's talks of a rumor from Chelsea, so that's one to keep an eye on for. But we've only seen really one source talking about it for now, so I'll wait for actual confirmation on whether that is true or not. One thing that is definitely true, or not true actually at all, I can put my life on the line for this, is out of Salerno, one of Salerno's newspapers has claimed that Inter made a 21 million offer for Ederson, the Brazilian midfielder that plays for Salernitana, who's actually, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been impressed with him for a while this season. Very, very interesting, athletic young midfielder. But 21 million, yeah, sure. Inter offering 21 million. I mean, if we had 21 million, we would put it straight for Bremer now. We wouldn't waste time to go for a backup centre mid. So yeah, absolute BS there. But I like to see that we are interested in a profile like Ederson, because that I think is the type of profile that we need in this team. Quickly to touch up on Bremer, that I mentioned him now. Again, it sounds boring and it's repeating the same stuff over and over again, but we have a gentleman's agreement with Bremer, with his agent, that he's chosen Inter, but we don't have the complete agreement with Torino. But Torino have said that they will wait for us. This is according to multiple sources in Italy, because Bremer has chosen us. So Torino said they will play ball, wait for us. We need to make some sales. We need something to come in to close the Bremer deal, because we actually have to spend some money. It's not free transfer. They're talking about 20, 25, 30 million. Apparently, according to some sources, Inter have identified him as like the next step to improving into, like, they're seeing this guy, he is like the guy who's going to take us to the next level, especially after De Vrij kind of fall off in form last season. So they are really pushing for Bremer, but they just haven't got the monetary availability to pull that deal off. So we'll see what happens. There's obviously loads of teams interested for Bremer, but if we wait too long, we might let him slip from our hands. Same thing for Dybala. Again, guys, the transfer market is a funny business. There's deals out there like Dybala. Dybala reminds me of kind of almost like Mertens was an Inter player, guys, pretty much a couple of seasons ago before he signed his extension with Napoli. Until Napoli at the last minute offered him an improved deal once again. But Mertens was going to be an Inter player. And Dybala, according to multiple reports, he's pretty much an Inter player. Everything is agreed, length of contract, salary, role in the team, everything. There's not too many offers on the table for Dybala. But as I said, transfer windows are officially not even open yet. Other teams could come in for Dybala, but for now, he is waiting for us. He's in standby for us, waiting for developments. Again, I think we just need to sort out the Alexis and Vidal situations to make that space in the squad for La Joya Dybala. And then Lukaku, once again, pretty much repeating the same stuff. We're waiting at developments. Let's see what Chelsea really want. We spoke with his lawyer a couple of days ago when I made the video. That has been confirmed. That meeting actually happened. Now the lawyer will go to Chelsea, speak with Chelsea, see what kind of offer or what kind of demands Chelsea have. The English media, if you read the other day, they're claiming that Chelsea will only sell or let Lukaku go if we pay like 15, 20 million loan and then 70, 80 million, redemption fee. Guys, no, no, it's not happening in those conditions. It's not going to happen. If it's going to happen, I keep saying to you guys, it's either going to be a free loan, absolutely free, or like minimal fee, maximum 5 million, something like that. And then of course that Lukaku, either Chelsea contributing to his wages or Lukaku signing a new contract with Chelsea where it cuts down his wages. So really, really beneficial terms to Inter. That's the only way it's going to happen. Whatever's been reported in the English media, that is not happening. Inter are not paying 20 million just for a loan. Inter are not paying a 60, 70 million option to buy, which actually they could insert an option to buy, but it would just be like fugazi, like, oh yeah, after the year we'll have the option to buy, but we know Inter are not taking that option to buy. And Lukaku, of course, is pushing for that for this move 100%. He's leading talks apparently in first hand to push Chelsea to let him have this loan deal to Inter completed. So yeah, lots of things on the spin at the same time. There's still ongoing talks for Aslani, for Empoli. Again, I think they're just waiting. We need to actually have some money coming in first before we can actually buy some players, apart from the free agents, as Onana, Mkhitaryan confirmed. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what your thoughts on all of this was. Which deal has you excited the most? And of course, I'll keep you up to date with anything hot and tasty in the world of Inter. Make sure you guys leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Ciao ragazzi, forza Inter.